In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, and it was so. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now I want you to hear the poetry I talked about in Proverbs 8. In verse 27, this Word of God, this wisdom of God in the flesh says, I was there when He set the heavens in place, when He marked out the horizon on the face of the deep, when He established the clouds above and fixed securely the fountains of the deep, when He gave the sea its boundary so that the waters would not overstep His command. And when He marked out the foundations of the earth, I was there. Then I was the craftsman at His side. I was filled with delight day after day, rejoicing always in His presence, rejoicing in His whole world and delighting in mankind. Now there's even more, because that word rejoice in the Hebrew can also be translated play, frolic, dance. This is not the story of a mad scientist cooking up a crazy universe that spun out of control on him. It is not the story of some distant God declaring something from some sterile hall of heaven. Let there be light. This is the story of a God who is love, and in that delight and in that generosity, God said, let's do this. And God said, and it was so. Now, this is just me talking, but in that creation, which was joyful and celebrating and delighting, it had to be emotional in other ways too. You see, for God is not bound by time, and the story is now afoot, and the freedom, the choices that are built in will lead to sin. But even then, we were made to enjoy the depths of God's grace. So in this joyful, distinct moment of creation, there is also a cross in the future. And this love that knew no beginning, this relationship that had always been perfect, is now going to suffer. The Father's heart will be broken, the Son will be abandoned, and the Spirit will be grieved, all for what sin deserves. And since God is outside of time, He experiences things differently than us. Maybe the cross was there at the beginning of the creation. Maybe the joy of the resurrection was there at the beginning. So what does that mean? It means that there was laughter, and there was dancing and singing and delight and joy and maybe even tears in this magnificent moment when God said, and it was so. But God didn't have to do this. He did it all. All of it. Out of love.